Welcome to the Pop Tower Podcast with your host, the man behind the myth, Peter Dawson, and the Soulful Lordy, James Bullock.
Hey, James.
What's up?
It's episode 50.
Oh, man.
You know what I got you?
What did you get me, man?
The tick got canceled. I'm a terrible gift giver.
I know, but like I said before, it's one of those things where if they ended it when they did, I could be fine with it because it still kind of left it on an open end, but it ended the story to a certain extent. But
yeah,
but they better not. I swear, they better give me season 3 of a show we're going to talk about today.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Speaking of shows that really they said they got a third season for it.
Okay.
Yeah, but so I am indeed Peter W. Dawson.
And I am James Bullock.
And we are here to talk about video games, television, and movies.
The trifecta, because it's episode 50.
Yep. And interestingly enough, there's some cross-pollination going on here. Because we got a video game that stars currently a TV actor. He's also in some films. We're going to have a TV show that is based on a film and is actually streamed. And we have a movie that is based on a video game. So let's start out by talking about Days Gone.
So much interplay.
Yep. So Days Gone is a...
Speaking of mixed
I was about to say
bag.
2019, but I'm like, it's 2019. It's a fairly new release.
Yeah.
PlayStation 4 exclusive, I believe.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It was actually published by Sony, so...
Okay, it is actually Sony published?
Mm-hmm.
Alright. Oh yeah, so it is. Sorry, I gotta move some stuff around to read my thing right. Yeah, and it's an action-adventure survival, I guess horror too?
Yeah, post-apocalyptic.
Yeah, it's definitely there's zombie-type stuff going on. I don't know, they're not really... It's a thing.
They're more infected than zombies, I guess.
Yeah, they're really not zombies.
Yeah.
But, yeah, and it's set in Oregon, of all places.
Yeah, I was actually surprised about that. I don't know why. Just the footage from the trailers and everything before the game came out just never screamed Oregon to me for some reason.
Yeah, but it works.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, and it focuses on a guy named Deacon St. John.
Yes, one of the best video game names in the last generation.
Deacon is definitely a more unique first name, I will give it that. And, he's played by Sam Witwer.
Mm-hmm.
Who, like I said, he's done a lot of video game stuff. He's also been, the Secret Apprentice and Star Wars Force Unleashed.
Yeah, honestly, outside of pretty much anybody in the cast, he shows that he actually has the acting chops from voice acting in a video game. Because everybody else is pretty bad, but he's actually decent throughout.
I didn't even check any of the other cast, honestly. I was like, it looks like him, it sounds like him, it is him. Let's talk about him. Yeah, oh yeah, on the wiki page, that's the only character with a cast note beside it.
Wow!
Oh no, never mind. Oh no, there's a couple more.
Okay.
Oh yeah, they got a few more.
Okay, good. I was about to say.
No. Sarah, Boozer, and Iron Mike.
Okay.
Have descriptors.
Alright.
Yeah.
Yeah, Iron Mike's pretty good too. He's good too as a voice actor, so.
Sorry, who?
No, Iron Mike. He does a good job too.
Oh yeah, that guy's pretty experienced from what I remember. But yeah, it follows Deacon about 2 years after a viral outbreak that just kind of screwed everything up.
Mm-hmm.
And he himself is a biker. I think they actually describe him as outlaw more than biker, but he's in a biker gang.
Yeah, he's an MC.
Yeah, he's in an MC with his buddy Boozer. I just love that there's a character named Boozer.
Yeah.
I will remind you that there's an episode of The Simpsons where they reference some fake movie where a character named Boozer apparently drank the pee. and then the dean corrects him. That's one of the places he drank it. Yes. So that immediately that's what it makes me think of. Just this weird, mysterious movie that was referenced on The Simpsons that isn't real. Anyway, so him and Boozer have to try to make their living in Oregon. They're kind of, what are they, they're like bounty hunters.
No, they're quote-unquote drifters.
I guess they are kind of bounty hunters because they are like looking for a guy.
Yeah, and the main thing like they talk about a little bit, not too even that far in the story. It was like at first they were actually kind of like slavers, and they were selling people to different communities if they needed work. But then like between sometime in the beginning of the fall and now they stopped doing it, and now they're just kind of like driving around, picking up odd jobs, capturing people.
Yeah.
Like I said, just bounty hunters.
Yep. And I do love this fictional organization they introduce that actually has a reasonable acronym. So it's called NERO, which red flag, but it's a National Emergency Response Organization.
Yeah.
That's a super reasonable acronym.
Very much so, especially for the situation that is unfolded.
Like I can't remember what it is, but I think it's SHADE in the DC universe, where it's like the Strategic Homeland Authorized Directorial Executive.
Okay.
Which is just word salad.
Yeah, it's just like a whole bunch of words going together. Like somebody just like literally stood up at a chalkboard and just wrote up words.
So shout out to at least having Nero mean something not so obviously evil.
Right.
I mean, as you can probably guess, Nero doesn't get the best reputation in this series.
No, not at all.
But I mean, the plot is pretty predictable.
Yeah, it's generic as there ever could be. I mean, it's simply guy goes around, tries to do jobs while reminiscing over his long lost wife that could possibly be alive.
Yeah, we get a little less of the Mohicans in there.
Yeah.
That's always my reference for that. I will find you.
Yeah.
We got bad dudes called we got the one cultist called the Rippers.
Yes.
We get the other group called the Freakers.
And so the Freakers are pretty much like the infected. And the Rippers
the Freakers are basically zombies.
Yeah, the Freakers are...
Rippers aren't exactly zombies.
They're just insane people. Like, they just literally, after the fall, decided, you know what, I'm going to strip naked and just roll around in blood and kill people.
Yeah. It's murder time.
Yeah.
I mean, Rippers, unless they're being fronted by Jesse, no.
Yeah.
Appreciate the Full House reference?
Yes.
Times like this, I miss our buddy R.D. Lee.
I know.
He would have probably given me a virtual high five for that. Yeah, I mean, that's really kind of the game's sin is, for as engaging as the initial gameplay is, and there's some pretty cool stuff, like the melee takedowns. Those are actually pretty awesome.
Yeah, I honestly, at the beginning, felt a little bit like, oh man, it's kind of overcumbered and too stiff and rigid, but then after you get used to it, you're like, wow, that really actually works without even having like a targeting system. Like this on screen, instead of like having markers to indicate who you're aiming at. It pretty much has a good indication of where to go and who to attack.
Yeah, like the problem is, like, there's a really good mid to this game, and then the end kind of sucks. That's kind of the thing. Like, it's like if this is one of your first open world survival type games, you'll probably enjoy the hell out of it.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, we've both played so many games like this. I mean, the most unique thing is just how much you can actually use your motorcycle, because frequently it's free roaming on foot, right?
Right. Like, one thing about it, you have to maintain your motorcycle. You have to have gas for it, which thankfully comes in abundance around the world. And
yeah, thankfully there's not too scarcity.
Yeah, and the gas cans actually have unlimited fuel for some reason, so just keep on pouring as long as you can find one. And the motorcycle can take damage, so you have to repair that with scrap that you find out of like random cars or buy at shops and stuff like that. So like there are little tools and gameplay modifications to the overall genre that you wouldn't expect to a certain extent, especially considering the fact that they want you to maintain your motorcycle and have like an attachment to it. But other than that, it just feels so much like what we've seen before.
It feels like it really wants to be a new Last of Us.
Yeah, just an open world Last of Us without the cinematic feel.
It's just not as good.
Yeah.
Like, even the crafting system and stuff just don't feel as...
Oh, the crafting system was ridiculously... It's just easy to manage, but it doesn't give you that fulfilling nature of, oh, I found this, and now I have this new weapon I can use.
I know, like, there's some neat ideas, don't get me wrong, but it's just, and, I don't know, like, it's a fun enough game, but I didn't feel the urge to say, like, oh yeah, you should definitely go out of your way to get it.
Right. It's one of those games that if it was on sale for $30 to $40, and you just had like a lot of time, and you had nothing else to play. Like, this is a good summer game, essentially. Like, no, outside of a couple of games I know we're looking forward to that's coming out later on during the
we
summer.
got one coming out next month for sure. It's also on the PS4.
But I mean, if you're like not interested in that game, then we'll definitely talk about. This is one of those games that would be good just to hold you over for a while you don't have anything else to play. But it's nothing that's going to leave a lasting impression.
Yeah. I mean, it's got some neat features. It's got a pretty good weather system.
I was actually surprised about that too when I was going to Iron Mike's camp and it started snowing. And I was actually a little bit surprised by that. I was like, oh, well, this looks actually really good.
Yeah. And, like, the day-night mechanic means something.
Yeah, because if you go out during the day, the freakers are less in mass, and they're kind of like easier to kill. But if you go out at night, they're like just crazed, which is kind of like what was it? A Dying Light kind of did that too.
Yeah, Dying Light's another one you could easily compare it to.
Yeah.
I was trying to think. And the stealth versus combat mechanics are pretty good.
Yeah, the stealth is very good when it's not a mission. In terms of the forced stealth missions. Like, it's ridiculous when it's forced stealth missions because for some reason, like, you can just move a random spot. You can even use a distraction, like throwing a rock or something, and they will go in the wrong direction and still spot you. But then when it's just like a regular mission, you decide to use stealth, it works incredibly well.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if there's much else to say, honestly.
I think the only thing we can talk about is, of course, what was one of the biggest promotional tools when it came to the game, and that's the hordes.
Oh, yeah.
What was your thoughts on it?
I didn't really care.
I didn't feel as... It was crazy because I had some... When I took on my first horde, I didn't have the best weapons. I just had like a few Molotovs, a couple of grenades, a regular like AK, and like a regular pistol with a silencer on it. And it was just pretty much like kiting a bunch of zombies around until I picked them off enough till the numbers were low enough that I could finish it off. Like, it didn't feel as harrowing as I expected it to feel.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to put it. I mean, it's like, you might think it's intimidating, but it's really not that hard to just clear them out.
Especially in certain areas where they place them, they do it in a way like they put a lot of explosive materials around, so if you shoot a barrel, it'll take out a big chunk of them.
Yeah, no, that pretty much sums it up.
Yeah, solid game, but just, I think like the level has been heightened so much when it comes to like not only Sony exclusive, but even games in this genre, that it just feels unremarkable, especially at this time of the generation console end, where you're expecting kind of like these heavy hitters, because we've all had like those console generations that had those incredibly remarkable games to close out a generation. And this won't be one of them, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. We'll see what happens with Last of Us Part 2. Yeah.
Honestly, if it came out like in 2014, I think everybody would be praising it right now.
Probably. I mean, that is one of the things. Especially where we are now.
If it came out after Watch Dogs.
Hey, imagine if this is what we got instead of the Order 1886.
Wow.
Just saying.
Like I said, if it came out after Watch Dogs, everyone would be talking like, this is the open world experience we wanted.
Yeah, because Watch Dogs. Oh man. I think we can move on.
Oh yeah, show no mercy.
Yeah. History repeats itself as we're trying to succeed. Now it's time to talk about the Cobra Kai again. They're the best. Oh, you were supposed to say around.
Oh, I missed my cue that time. See, those Cobra Kai just coming in, man. They interfered.
Yep. Well, they show no mercy.
They do. They really do.
So we're going to talk about Season 2 of Cobra Kai, which is on YouTube Premium.
Yes.
I think last time we talked about this, it was still YouTube Red.
Yeah, it was.
It's a thing. This is easily one of the best things YouTube is putting out right now.
It really is. Like, I don't care what format you're talking about. Even for me, it's like overall streaming services. This is one of the best things I've experienced in quite a while when it comes to television.
This is one of the most fascinating... Like, never mind the fact that it's a continuation of a freaking, movie franchise from over 30 years ago.
Right.
never mind the fact that it has plot points from all 3 movies, although granted 2 is probably referenced the least.
Yes.
Like, and never mind the fact that they got basically everybody back.
Yes, and there were characters in this season that I never expected to show back up, and yet they got an episode.
Like, I didn't even think about the fact that they did get Rant and Randy Heller to play Daniel's mom again.
Yes!
And I'm like, oh, that's right, that is her.
Yes, it was very late in the season she makes an appearance, and I was so shocked.
Yeah, and that's not all, because, I mean, for those that don't know, so Cobra Kai, it's like I said, it's a continuation of the Karate Kid franchise. Mm-hmm. It follows the lives of Johnny Lawrence, the jerk from Cobra Kai, and Daniel LaRusso, the Karate Kid.
Yes.
And all these years later, and both their lives are kind of at an interesting point, because Daniel's kind of in a funk, despite being a fairly successful car salesman and father of 1. He's only got the 1 kid, right?
No, he's got the son.
I keep forgetting about the son.
Yeah, the son. He made some sporadic appearances. He made a lot more last season than he did this season.
I think that's why I don't remember him that much.
Yeah, but it was like
season.
one episode where he's like running around, and Daniel spots him and says, "Where's your sister?" And he's still got a PS Vita that he just plays constantly. So I'm guessing he's just playing Persona 4 like over and over again.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it's what happens. That's what I do. Persona 4 the Golden, baby. So what was I saying? Yeah. So it particularly follows his daughter as well as Johnny's son.
Yes.
His estranged son, and a kid Johnny kind of takes in as a second son named Miguel.
Yes, Miguel lives in the same apartment complex as Johnny. And in the first season, caught him getting beat up, so he tries to stand up for him, and it kind of instigates this whole thing where, hey, I want to help kids learn how to defend themselves and, be better people. So why not open up Cobra Kai?
Yep. And then Daniel LaRusso just was like, Cobra Kai is evil.
Yes!
So you get 2 people who can't let it go.
Right.
And
even when they had their moments, and we saw this in the first season, where they actually see we're not so different after all. If this was a different life, we probably could have been friends.
Absolutely.
And it just won't let it. Like I said, Daniel just won't let it go.
Yeah. I know, like Daniel in particular is possibly the worst instigator. I mean, as much as some of the kids can be bad, and of course there's one character we'll talk about who is definitely the worst instigator.
Yes.
Well, 2. There's 2 that are pretty bad.
Yeah, there's one that's kind of like just naturally bad, and another one that's kind of like trying to show off.
Yeah. So Samantha, who is Daniel's daughter,
mm-hmm.
Robbie, who is Johnny's
son.
Yes, son, estranged son, and we actually get an interesting look at what caused the estrangement.
Yeah, it was very interesting, and there's a moment where Johnny actually pours his heart out and explains like what happened from day one, like from the time Robbie was born, why Johnny was a bad dad.
Yeah, like, there's a lot of really good moments like that, and like we get more expansion on Miguel's family life.
Mm-hmm.
We look at the state of Robbie's life, and then interestingly, because 4 people got promoted to main cast this season.
Oh, really? Yeah. Let me see.
Yeah, because Hawk from last season,
right.
Eli,
mm-hmm.
Who was one of the guys who kind of had his problems, and so he ended up becoming a tough guy. And then Eli's best friend Dimitri, who ends up coming into being disappointed at Eli Hawk's turn to the dark side.
Right, he becomes pretty much everything that they wanted him not to be in terms of like it was always that power corrupts absolutely moment where Hawk is like, oh, I'm just trying to defend myself and get some confidence, to now I'm the baddest dude walking.
Yeah. So those 2 actually have a lot more impact on the plot this time.
Yes, I honestly forgot Dimitri even existed from season 1.
I know, yeah. Well, he was like, they got a way more to do, especially Dimitri.
Yeah, because I mean, essentially Dimitri was a towel boy in the first season, so.
Yeah, but Miguel, Robbie, and Samantha are still pretty big major players. There's a new character we'll talk about in a second. I want to point out also that Amanda LaRusso, Courtney Hengler?
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah, Daniel's wife. She becomes a main character, and then the epic reveal at the end of the first season. Martin Coe is back as John Kreese.
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
Oh. For those who don't know.
Yeah. Hey, do you like 80s villains?
Oh, Kreese is back, and he has the most evil smirk you could ever find.
Kreese is just the most 80s villain ever, especially in Karate Kid Part 3.
Yes.
Everything that happens in Part 3 is canon, and Kreese is back. And I'm just like, oh my god.
Because,
why?
Like you said, at the end of Season 1, we didn't want to spoil it when we talked about Season 1, but of course we can now. You're coming into Season 2, of course, hopefully you've seen Season 1, and if you haven't, make sure you do. When Kreese arrives, I initially thought it was going to be maybe 1 to 2 episodes he'll be in, and then he'll be gone.
No.
I did not expect him to be a force throughout the entire season. And it was done so well. And like you said, he's this stereotypical 80s supervillain, essentially, for a group of teenage kids, but he's done in a way that it actually works, which is surprising to me. I don't know how it works, but it does.
Blackwater.
Huh?
He's trying to get these kids to join Blackwater or something. He's trying to turn them into an army. He's going to use them to overthrow the Postmaster General or something. Something bad is going to happen.
Because for those who don't know, I mean, the belief was that Kreese was dead after 3.
Yep.
After Karate Kid 3. And he comes back and he has, the greatest stories about what he's been doing. He's been pretty much a mercenary for hire. He's been this place and that place. And then he heard about Cobra Kai open up. It's like, now I'm coming back to show the world what Cobra Kai can really do with somebody that's now found himself again.
This guy is essentially the shoulder devil made manifest.
Yes!
It's like, what's that? You want to beat that guy up? You do beat that guy up.
And he puts little things in, especially at the kids' heads. Especially when they're sympathetic or upset over something. It's like, oh, man, I can't believe I lost this. No, you didn't lose. If it was a real fight, that person would be dead. It was like, okay, I feel better about myself now.
Hello, psychosis.
Yeah.
I swear to God, this guy. And I swear one of the reasons he brought him back is so Johnny can actually get redemption because, here's an actual villain for Daniel and Johnny to eventually have to deal with.
Right, and the thing about it when it comes to Kreese's abilities as a villain, I think even when Johnny looks a little bit devious, it doesn't look half as bad. He actually makes Johnny look so much better as a person just by being around.
Yeah, and there's some messed up stuff that, Hawk is also basically one of the most corrupt people on the show now.
Yeah, like I said, absolute power with him.
Although we should probably talk about the other new character.
Yeah, another person. Okay, now this one is a difference with Hawk. Hawk wasn't a bad seed when he came in. He was just he was a guy that had been picked on because of a deformity, and then he finally got the confidence to be the person he always envisioned himself as being. And then he just became a jerk after that.
Yeah, once he became Hawk, he just became a douche.
Right. Whereas, there's a new character that is introduced. Her name is Tori, and she's hard. But she is a party animal, and she's not nice, and she might steal things, and she drinks.
She's often in a box because she's a tool. I don't like this character.
Yeah, and she's one of those characters, unlike Kreese, that you understand why he is like he is. I mean, it plays off of the fact that he has established history in the franchise, whereas this character felt like a checklist.
Yeah, and her justification is not great.
No,
it's there, but it's not great.
And the funny thing about it, and there's one thing I wanted to bring up, especially in comparison to her character, even though this other character I'm gonna bring up gets very little in terms of airtime, but she at least feels a little bit more natural, is Hawk's girlfriend. We get introduced to her, and at first it seemed like she's just a one-note character, that she likes Hawk because he's a bad guy in there, he's tough. And but then you see like her actually being a human being and understanding like, okay, you're not a good person, and why can't we all be friends? Why does this have to separate us for stupid karate clubs? Like, she felt natural, even though at first it seemed like she'd be stereotypical. Whereas Tori is just like 80s stereotypical that doesn't work.
Oh, so much. Like, just, good lord.
There's a scene, I hate to spoil this, there's a scene like late in the season where she overpowers another character that's very minor. That makes no sense. And it's just so hokey. Like, it fits her character perfectly, but in the world that they've set, it just makes no sense.
Yeah. This character's not great.
No.
I do appreciate where her arc ultimately took her at the season finale, though.
Oh, yeah, no. I like the entire season finale in general was awesome. But it was like one of those things where it was almost like she finally hit like the ultimate evil for her. She finally hit her final form, and it still didn't help her too much.
Nope. Oh, that's cute. You think you're important. Sweetie, no. And then, but I want to point out, if there's two things I really love about this season that relate to the original movie, it's we get to see Johnny meet up with his old crew.
Yes, that was an episode I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I think it's called Take a Right.
Yeah, I think it's the 6th episode, isn't it?
Yeah, and like we mentioned that they bring back a lot of the actors from the original series. Oh boy.
Yes.
They got all of them.
Yes. And I love the point they actually show a cutscene from the old movie where they were all riding dirt bikes together.
Yeah.
Oh, that gave me chills, man. That was a great one. That was a great moment.
And I forgot that they all had names that ended in Y.
Yeah.
Because it's Johnny, right? And then he's
Johnny,
Tommy, Bobby, and Jimmy. Especially your boy Jimmy.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh.
That's such a great
figures
episode,
they give the most experienced actor the best character.
Yeah.
Because I think the other two, I don't know if they quit acting or something like that, but they don't have nearly as much of a profile as Tony O'Dell, who plays Jimmy, does.
Yeah.
And that's like there's so many good emotional moments.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of the ones I like is when Miguel decides to try and help Johnny date.
Oh yeah, he tries to get him set up, and of course, since Johnny is still stuck in the late '80s and assumes that anybody that uses a computer is a nerd, has no idea what to do, and there's actually a great moment where he actually takes a laptop to a shop and says it's broken, never thinking about possibly finding a power button on it.
Yeah, this is why I love Billy Zabka so much, because he sells the hell out of this.
Oh, he fits it. Like, he just feels like he just got transported out of a certain era and is never caught off.
See, this is a guy I really wish had been in a show like Breaking Bad or something before, because I don't buy that he could, disappear into a role.
Right.
But he is so good just being, a dude.
Yeah.
And I don't mean, the dude. I mean, just, you can give him emotional heaviness. You can make him a moron. You can probably make him pretty smart, too.
Yeah.
And, he can do it. I really hated that.
Even from the level of intelligence, I mean, of course, it's karate still, but, I mean, the way he exudes his confidence in this knowledge of karate, even when Kreese is watching him, is on a different level than anybody else.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of a bummer, because he hasn't, what has he done since, I think we brought about this up last time, but in terms of film, he didn't really do much.
Right. It was really weird. I don't know if it's just one of the situations you got typecast, and he did the role so well, that's the only thing he can do, and he didn't want to be that guy.
No, and it's kind of a shame because he ended up doing stuff like he ended up being in a Hot Tub Time Machine where he was basically playing an '80s bully.
Right. That's the thing, and I think maybe that was one of those things. Once he got okay, this is who I am as an actor to a certain extent, it was more welcoming, and thankfully, something like this came along. Yeah. But it's he's a guy that deserves so much more.
He really does. He can absolutely act. I always say this is one of the shows I wanted to get nominated for something.
Yes.
And it really needs. Like, and I mean, of course, Macho to a degree as well. He's a pretty good actor.
Oh yeah.
I mean, especially when he has to really hit those emotional beats, because it's clear, like Macho can really channel the emotional connection he has to the franchise after all this time, and it's quite beautiful. Like we mentioned before, how in the first season they had a tribute episode to Mr. Miyagi.
Yeah.
And it clearly channeled a lot of his actual emotions around Pat Morita.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, like, it really feels like he was once again channeling like those emotions he had from the original film.
Yeah, it's definitely, especially coming into the end of the season, there's almost like the spirit of Mr. Miyagi hanging over the entire just situation that's unfolding, and everyone's kind of like making the wrong decisions, and all they do is just like, just settle down and just think about how Mr. Miyagi would have handled it.
Well, that's the thing too. He tries some of the Miyagi training, and the kids are like, "No," and they leave. Like, that was both hilarious, and I'm like, that's I love that. So
for those who don't know, like, cause of course, if you haven't seen the Karate Kid movies, a lot of the initial training is based around essentially yard work and housework and house repair and cleaning cars and stuff like that. So when these kids see it, they immediately say, "Oh, you just want us to paint your fence."
Yeah, I know. Like, they have the obvious cynicism. It's like you're trying to what's Tom Sawyer at? Good stuff.
Yeah, but one thing that I know we talked about in the last season, I distinctively remember us talking about it when we reviewed season 1, and it's a problem that comes up in this season too, especially when it comes to the adults, especially Daniel LaRusso's character, the Daniel LaRusso character. Whereas people, especially the adults, just don't stop and talk.
No.
There's always these moments where they, if they just stopped and thought about it for a second, you know what, I'm acting like a kid, let me just talk real quick, they can solve a lot of problems.
Well, Amanda, she's on hand more to call Daniel out.
Yeah.
And one of my favorites is at one point she points out, like, you're spending more time worrying about karate than you are about selling that cars. And I'm like, you know what, you're right. So he goes back and he sells a bunch of cars.
Yeah, but then it's like, I got it out of my system now, back to karate.
Yep. Like, he both takes her advice and doesn't. It's kind of great.
And I love that. Like, we were talking about just that aura of Mr. Miyagi, like, what he established. And there's this continuous talk about balance. And Daniel could not have balance to save his life.
No.
No matter how hard he tries, like, he just cannot get balance. He can't balance, like, work and karate. He can't balance the idea of, certain people being able to change and certain people can't. It's like he's essentially a hypocrite in a lot of ways throughout the series. But he's still right in other ways. Like, there's no real clear-cut villain and hero like it would have been in Karate Kid. Outside of, like, Kreese, of course. And even then they try
Kreese is absolutely, and Tori.
And Tori, yeah. But then even then they try to actually give, especially with Kreese, they give you that moment where you think, like, oh, he's finally had his redemption. Like, he's actually not the person we think he is.
I didn't buy it for a second.
I know, but then the camera cut, you see him smirking, and then look again, like, oh, crap.
That ain't happening.
It's like, oh, no, he just got him again. He got Johnny again.
Yeah. Oh, it's a thing. I do want to mention, because we can't talk about it, I love how episode 9, rather than feeling like everything's about to boil over, it's, hey, everything might be okay.
They gave you that feeling. That's what I was talking about earlier. Like, Johnny and Daniel could have been friends.
Yeah,
if this was a different circumstance, they could have been friends.
Yeah, they finally talk. It seems like they might actually be making progress, and then episode 10 happens. Oh boy!
I will say, without spoiling anything, it's one of my favorite season finales I've seen in quite some time.
There's so many things going on with that, including the emotional beats.
Yes.
And the final twist, well, a little goofy, is actually pretty great.
Yeah. It caught me off guard, actually. But they actually alluded to it earlier in the season. And
they did.
Oh, man, like, please, if you have... And honestly, you don't even have to be a fan of the original movies to like this. That's one thing that's absolutely incredible about it. It's such a great show on its own.
Yeah. I don't know what else to say. I love the show.
I hope it gets
one of my
nominated
favorite.
I hope it gets nominated for something, please.
It needs to. It really does.
It's so good.
I mean, Sony Pictures produced the second season.
Oh, please, Sony, do something.
use your vast influence and money.
Yes. If you're going to use it for something, this is it. Use it.
And I just want to point out, this show's a pretty good stick, because, I mean, the shortest episode is 22 minutes.
Yeah.
I think the longest is 36.
Yeah, I think the season finale was the longest episode.
Yeah, and it's understandable.
And rightfully
why.
so. Even then, I was like, man, I don't want it to end.
I know.
Please.
And then you're just like, oh God.
Yeah.
Is that the end? Oh, thank God, it's still going.
No. Yeah, there was one moment I was like, oh, are they going to end it like this?
That would have been a hell of a cliffhanger.
That would have been a cliffhanger and a half, man.
I know, honestly, I feel like that would have been stronger than the one they went with, but I'm still fine with it.
Oh, no, I'm very fine with it, because, like you said, they definitely left the door open for a third season, and we kind of have an idea.
Did they ever?
And we kind of have an idea of, like, what they have to do now. So,
yeah.
I'm just hoping. I want to see everything work out, please.
They have to kill Silver, because he's back, too. I wouldn't put it... Wait, is the actor who played Silver actually dead? Because I think one of the actors is dead, besides Pat Morita, of course. Yeah, I kind of don't want to move on, but I think we should.
Yeah, we need to. But please, for everything, for the love of everything holy, if you haven't seen Cobra Kai Season 1 or 2, check it out. It's definitely worth your time. And like I say,
one of the best shows, period.
Yes! Like I said, you don't even have to be a Karate Kid fan to enjoy it. It's such a great show.
Absolutely. But we're going to go from one fan-pleasing series to another. Okay, because I was really surprised about this one, I gotta say. So we're going to talk about... Okay, I gotta get this right, because it's a very important distinction. It's Pokémon Detective Pikachu, not Detective Pikachu, because that's the game.
Yeah, because it's
Pokemon
easy just to say Detective Pikachu. But,
it really is.
But if we were saying it like that, like you said, we're talking about the game.
Yeah.
Semantics, but still.
Yep. And,
It could have easily just said Detective Pikachu the film. Or the
true.
movie, you know? They could have easily just done it that way.
So this is a Nintendo joint with Warner Brothers and Toho, of all companies.
Yes.
And also Legendary, I think, is involved. Yeah, Legendary as well. And, yeah, this is a heck of a thing. So it's set in the fictional Pokemon city of Rhyme City.
Yes.
Which I don't think we've ever seen before.
Not that I can recall, no.
And it's very interesting because it's unique from the Pokemon universe. The Pokemon universe, I'm going to give a quick down and dirty just in case. For those who don't understand, Pokemon are basically monsters that roam the world that are somehow also the same species, but there's over 700 distinct types. It's weird. And they're all these creatures that have various supernatural abilities. Like, some are freaking ghosts.
Right.
You know, and there's like fire lizards and all this other stuff. And the main rule is that there are Pokemon trainers who capture Pokemon in these small balls and store them in some kind of energy thing, and then they can release them to have them do battle, or... And they have established that like Pokemon can be used for other reasons as well. But the basic thing is, almost everyone seems to have a pet Pokemon.
Yeah, we've literally...
Or is training Pokemon.
We've literally seen, like, butler Pokemon. Like...
This is true.
Yes, I mean...
So there's all this type of thing. Instead of
training them to fight for supremacy, they train them to be butlers and maids. Just service hands.
And,
animal abuse people.
The big thing about Rhyme City is there's no Pokeballs.
No.
So, like, Pokemon just roam with the people.
Yeah, not only roam, but they actually help society. Like, we actually had, like, cross-traffic helping Pokemon.
I know, I appreciate that. Like, they very much kind of give it a Zootopia feel.
Yeah.
But there's also humans.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, Pokemon are just as much a key part of the citizenship. I mean, they're not exactly second-class citizens, but they are still treated a good chunk like animals because they don't, talk.
Right.
Properly. So there's that weird kind of connection. But it's very fascinating as a result. Like, the world itself feels very lived in.
Yeah, it did. It really did.
Which is one of the big things that was going to make or break this movie. And, I mean, like, there's others, of course. But, I mean, this is something I really have to praise the movie for. Because, I want to point this out now, it's the highest-rated live-action video game movie on Rotten Tomatoes.
I can believe that.
Yeah, I mean, considering what it's up against.
Yeah, I mean,
Prince of Persia and Mortal Kombat, the original.
Yeah, like I said, the only one that I would give it a potential knock against would be Mortal Kombat.
Oh, most people would, yeah.
Yeah, like that'd be the only one.
Yeah, most people don't look as fondly on Prince of Persia as they used to.
No, not at all.
That movie didn't age that well.
No, it did not.
I still liked it at the time.
Yeah, I think it was just the just forget it. It's just something that happened. You wanted to like it more than you really thought you should have.
Yeah. In this case, there's plenty to like about this.
Yeah,
and so, it follows the adventure of, speaking of characters with generic names, Tim Goodman. I really don't like that name.
I know.
Especially when
not only does it sound generic, it sounds old.
That's the thing, because, like, especially when his actor's named Justice Smith. and I mean, I've mentioned this to you before, and whenever I hear the name Justice Smith, I just think, hey, what's Texas Battle up to? Because that's a real dude.
Yes.
But, like, I'm just like, couldn't they have given him something a little bit more fun?
I mean, you also think about, like, the world of Pokemon. And you think about the characters and their names, the human characters. Tim Goodman?
I know, it just feels really... Well, yeah, especially when we get to some of the other character names in this one. Because, like, his main... Okay, we should explain the plot before we get too deep into the characters. Yeah. He's an insurance salesman.
Yes.
Which I absolutely love.
Former Pokemon trainer turned insurance salesman.
I absolutely love that concept. And, yeah. And then Tim finds out his father, Harry, has died in a traffic accident, because his dad was a detective in Rhyme City. And so Tim decides to go look into the mystery of Harry Goodman.
Yes.
And along the way, he soon discovers a conspiracy that could tear Rhyme City apart. And so I kind of wish it was more noir than it was, honestly.
Yeah, I was expecting a lot more. Like, it was weird because when I was hearing reviews before I saw it, I kind of got the feeling like, oh, this was more of a mystery-focused movie in the sense of real clues and them searching out stuff and finding bodies and interrogating more people than just one Mr. Mime. Like, I expected a lot more of the actual mystery to be in the forefront. Whereas, like, the mystery was there, but it was, like, more grandiose in nature and presentation.
Yeah. No, it ultimately wasn't what I think I wanted it to be in terms of mystery and stuff.
Yeah, it just didn't feel as personal as it could have felt for a mystery.
No. Which is a shame, because we had some really good actors in it, too.
Which is also a shame the fact that there's a guy looking to find out what happened to his dad. Like,
I know. Like I said, I'm kind of disappointed, too, because, like, the characters all have really generic names, too. Like, so... He meets up with plucky reporter Lucy Stevens. Yes. And I do love how she just does like a fluff column and she wants to be a real reporter, don't you know? She's fine.
Yeah, she's okay. She doesn't have...
I liked her more than Tim.
She just doesn't have much to work with, but she does a good job. Like, there's one scene where they're together, and this is about midway through the movie, where we're trying to find out what's going on, and she may know something that he doesn't. And that's like the most natural yet quirky moment that they had the entire movie that actually felt like, oh, they actually had some chemistry.
Yeah.
And that was it. It was very fleeting, that feeling.
Yeah. There's no really forced romantic subplot with them, which I do appreciate, because...
Well, they kind of allude to it over and over again. And at the end, you know, there's that allusion like, yeah, well, they might be more than just friends, but nothing really comes of it.
Yeah. It doesn't really matter.
No, it doesn't. It really doesn't.
She does have a Psyduck, though. Yeah. Psyduck is pretty great.
Psyduck's actually more entertaining than her, unfortunately.
Yeah, but the real star of the show is Detective Pikachu himself.
Yes.
Also known as Harry's Pikachu, because they say that quite a bit.
Yes. They not only do they show you that he has a hat, that it gives you the information of that fact. You must understand that this Pikachu belonged to a man named Harry.
And I absolutely love the fact, like, Ryan Reynolds, he's clearly ad-libbing through so much of this movie.
There's so
and
much.
It's just glorious. Like, I used to think Ryan Reynolds wasn't actually the best ad-libber, and then we got Deadpool, then we got Deadpool 2, and then we got this. I'm like, maybe he grew into it, because, like, I remember seeing him ad-lib in some other movies before, back in the early 2000s, that were just bad.
Right.
Like, he ad-libs a lot in Blade Trinity. Whew. It's not funny. But in comparison, Deadpool, Deadpool 2, and now this, his ad-libbing is actually pretty great.
Yeah, it was definitely some moments that when he said it, he was saying stuff, and I was like, man, this can't be in the script. Like,
I know, like, there's no way. I am curious whose idea it was to have him sing the Pokemon theme.
I was actually about to bring that up. There's a moment very late in the movie where he's walking and he's singing the Pokemon theme, and I died. That was it for me. If I could have, if they could have stopped the movie and just rewound it 50 times for me, like that would have been fine.
That, like, they leaked a thing of Pikachu dancing to music for 90
Yeah.
minutes. They should have leaked that.
This should have been it.
And it's funny, I only now realized that the lyrics, I will travel across the land, searching far and wide, it's not teach Pokemon to understand, it's each Pokemon to understand.
Oh, yeah.
And I only realized that after I saw the transcript to that scene.
Wow.
Yeah, so, like I said, the world's pretty good, the mystery's okay, like, the plot in general is alright.
Yeah, there's a good plot there, but it's like
There's
one of those things
twists
where they didn't need that actual mystery to make the plot important.
Yeah, like there's some genuine good twists later on, especially with one certain Pokemon I don't want to mention.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because it was like there's so many things. There's so many points in like the movie where you can be like, oh, I know where this is going. There's a couple that really do take you by surprise, and they're actually pretty great. And but I do want to shout out to a couple of the supporting actors, because we got a couple of pretty good ones, because Ken Watanabe plays the frickin' detective.
Yes.
Not the missing dad detective, but Hideo Yoshida.
Yes.
Which is still a pretty generic Japanese name, I gotta say. Detective Yoshida, I think I've seen in like 12 other things. So I'm just saying, they could have had more fun names, but everyone's got a really generic name. It's like, oh, here's Lucy Stevens and Tim Goodman and Bill Nighy playing Howard Clifford.
Yes, yeah.
By the way, Bill Nighy acting circles around basically everyone.
Yeah.
The only people who can keep up with him are Ryan Reynolds and Ken Watanabe, and Watanabe has to play it straight.
Yeah,
so
the whole
he's only
time.
doing so
it really
much.
is.
Like, Rita Ora showed up at 1.2. That was weird.
Yeah.
I don't know why she was in this movie.
It was just like, okay, we need a cutscene here. She's available to do it. I mean,
why?
Why? We could have had anybody else. Really.
We need a young, attractive British scientist. All right, so why don't we get like Sophie Turner or something like that? No. I've got it. Rita Ora. Like, of all people.
Yeah, it was really odd. Like, I did not see that coming.
It was like the Phil Collins cameo in Hook. What the heck is going on there? Why is Phil Collins playing a detective? I'm just saying.
I gotta say, the biggest flaw for me, personally, I was watching it, just as an old school Pokemon gamer, a lot of mine I didn't even recognize because I'm so far removed from it now, was the fact that Jigglypuff is a lounge singer and everybody was still awake.
Yeah, not all the jokes worked.
Yeah.
I did appreciate that they had a plethora of new and old Pokemon.
Yeah, no, I was expecting, especially when you saw the trailers, you saw so many of the Gen 1, Gen 2 Pokemon. I was actually surprised that they showed a lot of later ones, too. And, like I said, I didn't recognize...
There's a lot of Greninja.
Huh?
There's a lot of Greninja.
Yeah. And, like, some of them, I had no idea who they were. I didn't recognize them because I haven't played those games, but, like, I was actually very appreciative of the fact that they didn't just isolate it to... Because it could have been so much easier just to isolate to the first couple of gens, especially considering that it's Pikachu. And of course, you always associate, like, oh, Pikachu is going to be first gen, so that's the main ones they're going to show.
Yep. Yeah, because, I mean, we got quite a... I think we had Squirtles at some point,
yeah,
too, didn't
Squirtle
we?
showed up, yeah.
Yeah, because there's a big scene with the Bulbasaur, there's a big scene with the Charizard, of course.
Yeah.
So, we got all the starter Pokemon from Gen 1. But we get, and of course, there's that very famous scene in the trailers that is great in the movie with Mr. Mime.
Oh, yeah, that was wonderful.
And, like, they actually do some cute stuff with the lore, but there's also stuff like IPOM and Torterra.
Yeah.
which I don't even know what gen those two are.
I'm assuming maybe 6 or 7.
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I'm saying same here.
I know. So like, there are some interesting ideas. Yeah, and it's already done. It's done okay for its first week. Almost 200 mil.
Okay, yeah.
Considering it's going up against Endgame.
Yeah, that's still a juggernaut right now.
It's at 2.5 billion, man.
It's. I guarantee you, before it's all said and done, it's gonna take it. It's gonna knock it out and finally get number 1.
It already took out Titanic,
Yeah.
and it's now coming up on Avatar's left.
Yeah, Avatar's going down.
Yeah, they're at 2.531 billion. If they make 200 million this weekend, they're good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't
Pokemon
know if
movie.
there's much else to say about Pokemon though. I mean, I appreciate everything they did with it. I just kind of wish they'd had maybe more interesting leads.
Yeah,
I don't even think the actors were necessarily that bad.
No, I just don't think they had much to work with. Like,
I mean,
the star of the show was Pikachu, of course.
Yeah.
And it just didn't feel like Pikachu had much of a mystery to solve on its own. Like, it's just like that noir part just felt lacking for a movie named Detective Pikachu.
Why didn't James Marsden just play Tim?
Yeah.
He's always a sidekick to a weird inanimate character.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So there's one thing I had to note too is the fact that we say that Ryan Reynolds voices Pikachu. We must note that Pikachu still talks like a regular Pokemon for everybody else but Tim. Like Tim can hear him speaking in regular English. And there's a scene I brought up the whole Jigglypuff lounge single part. That was actually in the same scene where he's talking to Pikachu and people start looking at him, so he has to pretend he's on his phone.
Yeah.
Like, that was good. I like that kind of stuff. That was some good stuff. But then it was like, then everybody just started accepting the fact he was talking to Pikachu with no problem.
Look, he speaks Pikachu.
Yeah. I mean, if he was saying Pika back at him, it would have made sense. But he was speaking English, and Pikachu was like, yeah, I understand. But at least they explained to a certain extent, like, how Pokemon and Pokemon trainers kind of communicate. So I did appreciate that. But, overall, like, solid movie. That's the thing. It's a solid movie. It's one of those movies that I think it's especially for fans of the franchise, they'll enjoy.
Oh, the fans will love this way more than a casual fan.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think even the casuals will enjoy it to a degree, and it's a pretty good family film.
Yeah, but I think for casuals, it's one of those things like one and done.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Diehard fans will absolutely want to rewatch this.
It's find out whatever little Easter eggs they can discover, but
it was an effective movie for fans, and it's a pretty okay movie at worst for non-fans.
Yeah, it didn't insult. It's one of those things, like, especially for a video game movie, it didn't feel insulting. It didn't feel like it was a disappointment. It didn't feel like it could have been so much better in the sense of, man, this is the continued trend of bad video game movies. But it's one of those movies that in a couple of months we won't even think about it.
Probably not, but I will point out it also respected like the franchise, and it created a city that differs from the standard,
right?
But makes sense within the universe.
Yes.
Because I mean, in Pokemon, we see all these weird towns all the time, like especially in the anime, where they get stuff like, it's like, oh, it's the town where people are up, literally never get any sleep. Which is, of course, like, I think, they're playing the idea of the city never sleeps. Hey, what happens if they never actually slept, so they're always a-holes?
Right.
Man, I hope we get another show soon with Peter Serafinowicz. Just to bring it back to the Tick. Because, of course, he's the guy who said a-holes in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
That was why I said that. Sorry, I'm a little off kilter, but I mean, I don't know what else there's to say.
No, solid movie. Pokemon fans would definitely get a kick out of it.
Yep.
Like you said, when it comes to the lore, respecting, like, even early in the movie, there's a part where we're kind of like the two differing ideas of how Pokemon interact with humans in one town compared to how they interact in another town, in this case. Because we see, like, Tim trying to get a Cubone, and of course it's in the wild, so it's not like, every city has Pokemon living in the town like normal. So they do respect that. It's just one of those things that it's not going to be a movie that is going to be, let alone winning any awards, but it's not going to be a movie I think a lot of people will be talking about in a few months. But it's not a bad movie at all. It's a solid Pokemon movie that just happens to be live action, and features two very bland semi-protagonists who, they're trying to force stuff too much sometimes.
Yep. Well, I think that's going to do us for this episode.
Yeah.
We've been in about an hour.
Yeah, no. It's just, I hate to say it kind of went on a low note, but like, how can you be anything but lower on a note when you talk about Cobra Kai season 2?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Like very few things are gonna follow Cobra Kai season 2, and it'd be like, the same type of high note.
Yeah. Well, you got to do what you got to do.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes maybe that was a mistake. Like anime.
Yeah, but at least we have, for the rest of our lives and beyond, Ryan Reynolds as Pikachu singing the Pokemon song.
That is just pure joy. That is up there with Patrick Stewart dressed as a lobster in the bathtub. Just that level of pure joy. You know what I mean? Like, I had joy when he went to a young fan and recited the Green Lantern oath, right? You know, that was adorable, but him just seeming to genuinely, enthusiastically sing the Pokemon theme, it's just like, thank you.
Yeah. Like I said, if this movie's done anything for us in the betterment of the world, that's it.
And Canada is the greatest producer of Ryans.
There you go.
We got Gosling and we got Reynolds.
God bless you,
What
Canada.
you got? Yeah, you're welcome, America. All right, I've been Peter W. Dawson.
I've been James Bullock.
And until next time, well, just remember, you can be the very best.